Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today's Saturday, the 2 days after Thanksgiving, 1 day after Black Friday. I want to talk to you guys about Thanksgiving for a moment, but first I'm going to discuss something, first world problems. I totally call this first world problems, and I go, maybe I'm buying too many baseball cards. This is my mail from the past 3 days, since Wednesday. For Love of the Game auction catalog. I just got this one about an hour ago, Mile High catalog. And let me put these away. The Robert Edwards auctions. So I think that's a sign that I'm starting to buy too many cards. I'm sure you guys all have the same type of problems. Thanksgiving. I didn't get to do much. My mother, she's going to be 88 years old next month. And she wasn't feeling well, so we decided not to go to the family Thanksgiving. So I went with Mom, and I spent the day with her, and she's doing fine, and which is great. And it kind of got me driving up to go visit her. She lives about 40 miles away, it got me to thinking about my mother in sports cards. And I grew up basically without a father, so that doesn't fit into the equation. But I was thinking about my life with my mother and my sports cards. And some of you have been really fortunate enough to put your dads on YouTube with you. And I think it's hysterical. I think it's awesome. And I absolutely love it. I kind of thought about bringing my mom on. She's a little old Colombian lady with a big accent. I don't know if she's going to know what's going on. So I don't know. We'll think about it. But for now, I was thinking about what my life was with her and when it came to cards. And it got me to think way back at the very beginning. One day, my mother gave me 25 cents. I was 8 years old, April of 1973. And I went to the 3G liquor store in Temple City, California, which exists to this day, but it's under a different name. And I bought 2 packs of 1973 baseball cards. At the time, I didn't realize they were Series 1 cards. I didn't know anything about series. I didn't know anything about baseball cards. I just knew that I had loved baseball for 2 years, and I was already a big Dodger fan, and I was also an Angels fan. And I was like, I'm going to buy some baseball cards. Little did my mom realize in giving me the 20 cents turned me into a monster. Every time I got a dime, yeah, the packs were a dime back then. A pack of 10 cards, or a pack came with 10 cards for 10 cents. Every time I got a dime, I was off to the liquor store to go buy cards. And it just started building from there. All of a sudden, my mom started noticing, why are there cards all over the floor? Why? And because I was playing different games with them. I would play a baseball game. I'd play 2 types of baseball games. One would be I would lay my guys out on a baseball diamond in the den. And, I'd have Rod Carew at second base and Willie Stargell at first base and Hank Aaron in left field. And I'd get a rubber band. And I'd have to explain it to you. Really, I mean, it was a game that I played with my baseball cards. Or another game I did, I would show up with a stack of cards at my aunt's house and a paper bag. And she goes, "Why did you bring your lunch?" And I go, "No, I didn't bring my lunch. My baseball cards are in there. I'm going to play a game." And she didn't. I would make up games. So I would throw all my cards into a bag. And if I pulled out a first baseman, that was a single. If I pulled out a second baseman, that was a double. If I pulled out a third baseman, that was a triple. If you pulled out an outfielder, that was an out. If you pulled out a pitcher, it was a strikeout. And if you pulled out a catcher, it was a home run. So I played this made up game of baseball with my baseball cards. And then going back to the floor, every so often I would decide to build a house of cards with my baseball cards. So the things we did with those cards, and I'm not even talking, luckily I wasn't one of those that put my cards in spokes, bike spokes. I did bring them to school, and unfortunately that did mean my cards got stolen on a few occasions. Why I never did anything about that, or why I didn't stop bringing my cards to school, I'll never figure that out. Later on in life, Mom would look at me in my 20s and 30s, or even my teens. She would say, "Honey, don't you spend enough money on baseball cards?" And that's kind of where the battle kind of began. At first, when I was a kid, every time she gave me money, I bought cards and she didn't think anything about it. By the time I was 15, 16, 20, 25, she would start saying stuff like, boy, you spend a lot of money on baseball cards. Shouldn't you be doing something else with your baseball cards? Flash forwarding to present day, when she comes over and she sees how my cards are displayed on the wall, how I have some of my cards back here, my Dodger cards back there, and she sees how I sort them, and she really likes how my cards look and how I've taken care of my cards. And now she's kind of like, how much money? She brings up how much money are they worth? But she does one of the favorite things about my house are the display cases with my baseball cards, because she just says, this looks like your house. I could tell that you lived here. This is something you loved all your life. So it's taken me all these years for me to realize now my mother approves of my baseball card collection. We've come a long way since I was 8 years old, obviously. All right, so today's video, I'm going to show off some of my latest pickups. It's been 3 or 4 weeks probably since I showed you my latest cards. As I mentioned in my last video, I've kind of been on a roll when it comes to buying cards. So I've been taking care of working on my 1957 Topps set, along with my Dodger team sets. I've picked up some pre-war Hall of Fame cards. So let's turn the camera around and let me show you what I got. All right, here we go. Okay, so let me show you what I've got. I've got the Michigan-Ohio State game on in the background, so I hope I don't get distracted. But let's take a look. These are in no particular order. My first card, I won this on eBay. It's a 1957 Topps Ted Williams and a PSA 3. There is a slight wrinkle all the way from basically from the 2 L's in Williams down to the bottom. I didn't catch that, but that's the reason it's a 3. And this card, now that I own this card, I am down to needing one card left in the 57 set, and that is Brooks Robinson. That's going to be a hard one. That's really going to be a hard one to find. I find it, but it's expensive. And for some reason, there's a lot of autographed Brooks Williams cards Brooks Robinson cards out there from 1957. All right, this next one, I just bought this one on a whim. It's the 1963 NL Topps Home Run Leaders, featuring Hank Aaron, Frank Robinson, Willie Mays, Ernie Banks, and Orlando Cepeda. I had bought a few weeks ago the 1966 that just has Aaron, Mays, and Clemente, and I loved it. And in my comments, a few people, including TJ Mack, had mentioned that there was a card with 5 Hall of Famers, and immediately I said I got to get it. So I found this one at a good price in a VG3, and it really does stand out. It's a really nice looking card with these 5 guys. Ernie Banks looks like he's a little cut off. That kind of annoys me, but so that is my 1963 NL Home Run Topps, or NL Home Run Leaders. Okay, so let's go to a little, now I'm gonna look at my my Dodger pre-war cards for a moment here. Let's get these guys out of here. And we're going to start off with the 1934 to 1936 batter up cards. You might be able to get a good look here at this Sam Leslie. His, how would I say this? His body is supposed to like pop out of this card like a stand-up, I believe. Kind of like those 1964 stand-ups that would show up 30 years later. I'm going to probably go a little deeper into this set once I finish the Dodger team set. But there are variations. They have 2 to 3 different types of colors, and I'll show you what I mean here in a moment when I keep this card up. But this is Sam Leslie. He played 3 or 4 seasons with Brooklyn in the early 30s. All right. The next one is Tony Cuccinello. I bought this card by accident. And here's something where you see the different colors. When I put the Cuccinello card next to Sam Leslie, you'll notice each player, and I'm awful with colors, but each player has a card in black and white, and I believe a card in these two colors as well. So they just made different variations back then. And so that's Tony Cuccinello. Now when you get to the, this set had 2 series, and the second set obviously is considered the high numbers. When you get to the high numbers, these cards are only featured in 1 color, basic black and white. That's Van Lingo Mungo, who also had a card in the early series. And so he has 2 cards in this team set. But the high numbers, and I'm going to see here, when you put it next to, let's just put them next to Sam Leslie, you'll notice the cards are smaller. They're just shorter. They're more of a square. So that's Van Lingo Mungo, arguably the best Dodger pitcher in the 1930s. And then the last one from this set that I picked up, I just picked up 4 cards, so obviously I'm working on this set, is the 1934 John Babich, Dodger pitcher for a couple of years. And this one's not in bad shape until you turn it around. And I don't know why, when someone writes in my card, it's always somebody with a K. My 1953 Mickey Mantle, this card, and one of the cards I showed you guys in one of my last videos. I think he wrote on the 1934 Diamond Stars, Al Lopez, right? It's just somebody with a K is always marking their cards. So that is John Babich. All right. Next up, and you know, if you guys don't watch John Mangini, he's really influenced me a lot to look through at other cards. And since at the moment, I'm basically done with the Dodgers from 1958, or excuse me, 1948 through present day. I've been diving more into the 30s and 20s, and I've been picking up some cards. Take a look at this one. This is 1929 Cashin Publications, R316. This is Harvey Hendrick. These cards are a little bigger than your regular size, but these are beauties. The backs are blank. Good looking cards though. There are 6 Dodger cards in here. I'm gonna see how difficult it is to find these, but this is Harvey Hendrick. And I was able to get one more just because the same guy had them for sale. And this is Hank DeBerry, another Dodger player. He only played a couple of years for the Dodgers, part-time player. But I just love this card. Look at the background with the crowd, and you don't see the Dodgers. I don't know if the Dodgers had their names or if it said Brooklyn on the uniforms back then, but it's a good way to show what they looked like, what their uniforms looked like back then. That's Hank DeBerry. Okay, I'm gonna go back a little deeper. This card just arrived like in the last hour. The 1927 W560 Waddy Clark, who also played for the Dodgers for several years in the late 20s and early 30s. This set, I'll go deeper into this once I finish the Dodger team set. You notice that they look like a deck of cards. They come in 3 colors, in red, like this one, or in black. And then there are multicolored ones where sometimes the Ace of Spades might be in red, but the color's in black and white, the photo. Or the Ace of Hearts is in black and white, or is black, and the photo is red. So I probably won't buy the variations. The Dodgers have 4 cards in this set. I'll probably just work on getting the 4 players, blank backs. By the way, this is considered mint, SGC 9. So that's Waddy Clark. And we're gonna go back a little deeper for the last time. No, not yet, not for the last time. 1915, Crackerjack, Edward Rulebach of the Dodgers, or the Brooklyn Robins as they were known back then. I am obsessed with the 1914-1915 Crackerjack set. If I won the lottery, I'm not buying Honus Wagner. I'm not starting a T206 collection. I'm not going to buy a Gowdy collection. I am going to go after a Cracker Jack collection, though, because I absolutely love this set. And you could tell it's you can see the caramel stains that come with a lot of these cards. And what's the difference between the 1914 and the 1915 card? The 1914 card has the backs upright. 1915 has the backs upside down. That's one of the ways you can distinguish the difference when it comes to finding these cards. And as usual, you see the caramel stains, but this card's 117 years old. No, 107 years old. So I think at this point you can it's okay to have stains on your card. This is my second Dodger. There are 6 of them. I need to get 4 more, and one day I look forward to hopefully making a video with all 6 of those cards. But love the Cracker Jack card, especially that Ty Cobb card is stunning, as is the 1914 Christy Mathewson. The 1915 card's a little different, but this is a great set. I picked up the book at the Cracker Jack book that PSA released. Just absolutely love looking through that. All right, my last look backwards. I picked this one up from my wall. This is a we'll just say T205 gold border of Eddie Collins with his mouth closed. There is a different version, which I believe is green instead of red, and Eddie's kind of laughing on this one. So I picked this one up, also from eBay. This card, the Eddie Collins card and the Ted Williams card I showed earlier, nobody bid on them. There was a high starting bid. I bid, nobody ever bid again. The Edward Rulebach card that I just showed you, I won that from an auction house, and I'm not going to get it right. It might have been Robert Edwards, I'm not sure. Probably the reason they're sending me catalogs. But here's the Eddie Collins card. There's the back. And I had originally bought for my display wall a 1933 Gowdy Eddie Collins. But I have a rule. If you're going to be on my wall, you have to have a present day card when you were a player. I didn't realize when I bought that 1933 card that Collins had retired, I believe, 3 years earlier. So I got to get a playing days card of him. So I picked up this Eddie Collins card, and absolutely thrilled to have it in my collection. Another card that I've been really looking for, the last two cards I've really wanted, and I finally picked them up in the last few weeks. And this is the 1933 Gowdy Lefty Grove in a PSA 2. Absolutely love the background of this card, the color. I wish they had kept, I don't know. I think he was on Boston by this point. No, he's on Philadelphia still, by looking at the back. I don't know if the teams had their logos on their uniforms and on their caps. I wish they did, because it would have been nice to see on these cards. But I've wanted this card for a very long time. I think one of the reasons I wanted this is because a few YouTubers had this card, and I just go, oh, that is so beautiful. So I picked this up again from an auction house. I can't tell you which one it was, just because, unfortunately, lately I've been playing around a lot more in those auction houses than I am on eBay, and they just seem to pop up all the time. So that is my 1933 Gowdy Lefty Grove. That is my oldest 300 game winner card that I have. And the last card that I picked up, I also won this on eBay. Nobody bid on it except me. And it's the 1953 Bowman Color Stan Musial in a PSA 3. I had the 1963 Topps on my display wall, which I loved. This one, though, I just wanted an older card, and this is just a classic. So picked this one up. There's some scuffs on the upper left and some wrinkles on the upper right. That is probably why it is a 3. Good looking back. But yeah, those are my pickups from the past few weeks. And I am thankful that they are in my collection, because I never imagined them in my collection. And whoa, Stan. And like I said, it was a good Thanksgiving, and I hope you guys all had a good Thanksgiving. We're heading into Christmas, and we'll see what we do for the next video. All right, guys? You have a fantastic weekend. Take care.